Okay, so I'm going to walk you through how you can set up a portal where you can host your live artifacts, which means they're interactive and you can share them with clients. And it's going to be a secure portal that's password protected. So when you're not sharing within the organization or team members that are part of your cloud instance, how do you share artifacts, right? And so you can do screenshots, static views, depending on who you're working with, maybe add them to your cloud account. But I found these portals are a really cool way to share them. So I'll walk you through how I built this. Let me show you the end results first, which is you'll have 2 pages. One will be the portal page. This is what the client can access, and it'll list all the reports, and you can customize this to however you want. This is just tailored to kind of what my personal brand looks like. And then you'll have an upload page where you can actually upload reports. I think I deleted this report, so it shouldn't show correct. So I'll show you real quick what we're getting into. So I have a artifact that I downloaded from Claude as an HTML. You just drag it here. You can update the title if you want. You can update the date. Hit upload report. You'll see it down here where if you want, you can rename it or you can delete it if it's no longer relevant. And then if you go to the portal page, that's where you can actually see the report. And the report renders and it's interactive, and the client can look at this or whoever you're sharing this with. So it's a very cool way to do ad hoc works, right? If there's a specific data question you're trying to answer, also like recurring reports, it's also a solid way to use this. So I'll walk you through the whole setup. I have a skill that I built that you can access. You can download and upload into your own cloud instance. I run this skill. First thing it asks you is, hey, what's the client's name? Because, just so it can use that to build the, the different folders that we'll need. Real quick, there are 2 platforms that I use for this. One is Supabase. This essentially just hosts the actual artifacts. And then you have kind of the front end hosting, which happens on Netlify. Netlify, you do need the $19 a month. Supabase can stay free for what we're doing. The $19 a month is really only to get the password protected feature. So let's walk through this together. I already ran this for the demo setup. Yes, I have the account. I said no for project setup. So project really is, you have one project that you'll set up, and in that project you'll have subfolders, or they call it buckets, for each client. So each client will get his own dedicated bucket where those reports get uploaded when you upload them through here. So it'll ask you to create, what's the project name. So here, if I go to the home, I have a project I called Gate Portals. And within that project, I have, if you go to storage, you can see my buckets. Let's go back here. So it's created. Once you create a project, you'll have a project URL, and you'll have a public key and API key. You'll need those. So I would locate them. You can find them in project settings, and then you have data API and API keys. This is where the project URL is, and this is where your API key is. So just copy paste them somewhere so you have them. We'll use them in a later step. Now you want to create a new bucket. So that's, you go to storage and you create a new bucket. Enter the name, keep all of this checked off, especially public bucket, keep that checked off, and then you hit create and your bucket's created. Right? This is what will host the actual HTML files. So the next thing is policies, just so the read-write permissions will work with the API call. So up here you have policies. You hit new policy for full customization, and then you select these, and you give it the name that it's called out in here, and it can do all. You review, say, policy. So Supabase is all set, right? So next question is, because it's going to generate this index file, so the index file is what renders this, and then it has an upload file, which is what renders this. The index file and has both of these files have the project URL and the API key. which is okay that they're in the source code because we're password protecting access to the portal. So only people you trust will actually be able to access the portal. It's not a publicly available page, right? Which is why Netlify needs to be $19 a month, so you have access to that feature. I would not publicly host this page because because if you go to this, you can access the actual API key on the source code. I don't like to give those keys to AI, so I actually ask to do it manually. I'll add it myself, and so it'll generate both files, and I'll show you in a second how to add those, add these two, replace these two values, and then it gives you the two pages, right? You have the index, which is this, and then you have the upload, which looks like this. Don't worry about the error; it's because it's not live. It'll ask you, like, here's where it'll ask you if you want to make design changes. So you can upload brand guidelines if you have them. You can give them a URL to your website, and it can just completely update this. And then next it'll ask you about the footer, and the footer really is about what? Wait, let's see right here. Is you can customize this footer, give it your own profile picture or logo, whatever you want to put there. I say good as is, it'll zip this, right? I download the zip. So here's the zip file. Here's the actual demo portal folder. It has two files in it. And then you open those files with an editor and you search for Supabase and you just replace, including the curly brackets, the project URL. And then here's where you put the API key. So you do this for the index as well and the upload file that it gives you in that downloaded folder. Let's go back to project instructions. I said yes, I already have it set up. If you say no, I'll tell you how to set it up. Here's where you go to app.netlify.com projects. So basically in Netlify, it's a very simple way to host things quickly. These are projects. If you drag a folder here, it will create it as a new project, right? So if you don't have the client set up, you would literally just go here, you would say this, new client, drag on here, and it will create the new project. I already have the project set up. So I go into the project. Once you drag your folder here, it loads, project is then in here, you click on it, and you can go customize. And here's where you can change the URL. Right? It'll be some kind of string. You change it to what makes sense. I usually do client name dash portal or client name dash project, and that'll be the URL to access that page. You can see it up here. Right? The other thing to do is to set the password. So for that, I go to project configuration and then configure password protection, and then I go basic, and then it asks me to set a password. So it's very simple to set that up. Then when anybody goes to this page, it's password protected. And that's pretty much it, right? Now you have these two pages, and you have this workflow that I showed you in the beginning. Like we uploaded the file, say I want to rename it, weekly CPL. Trends, just make some letters capital, hit rename. I come back here, I hit reload. Great, I can click, I can see, I can interact, I can share. I have this copy link. If you want to share directly to the report, you can also just go back and then just show you can delete, right? Come back here and it's deleted, no reports. And again, if we want to add the report, you can just drag and drop here. And you can also add a description if you want. Upload report. If we go back here. So it's a really cool way to share reports that are still interactive with the client, and just you can have them sit here and you can share directly to the report. So I'm very excited about this setup. If you have any questions, find me on LinkedIn and ask away.